Imagine this. A man living quietly in Maryland with a wife and kids gets suddenly arrested. He's deported on a plane to El Salvador, even though the courts told the U.S. government he should not be removed. It sounds like a mistake. It sounds like a system error. But when the Supreme Court of the United States steps in and says, "Bring him back," and the government still pushes to deport him again, it becomes something much bigger. This is the story of Kilmar Abrego García. But it's not just his story. Because when Tom Homan, Donald Trump's border czar, goes on television and declares he absolutely will be deported, it is not just about one man. It's about a test case. It's about Trump's promise of mass deportations. It's about whether courts still matter when the executive branch wants to act first and ask questions later. Tonight on Global Alert Media, we are breaking down who Abrego García really is, why Trump's team is so desperate to deport him, and what this single case tells us about the future of America's immigration system. Stay with me, because what's happening right now could affect millions of families living inside the United States. Let's start simple. Kilmar Abrego García is from El Salvador. He came to the United States years ago. He lived in Maryland. He had a family. His wife is American. His children are US citizens. But his immigration status is complicated. Like many immigrants, he was caught in a system that is slow, confusing, and often unfair. He fought for asylum, saying that if he returned to El Salvador, he would be targeted by gangs, and a judge actually believed him. Back in 2019, the court said, "Do not deport this man." For years, he stayed. He lived a quiet life. He worked. He raised his family. But then, suddenly, everything changed. In early 2025, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, detained him. They put him on a plane and they sent him back to El Salvador. Here's the shocking part. This deportation went against a federal court order. Judges had ruled that he was not to be removed. Yet the Trump administration did it anyway. Some called it a mistake. Others called it an oversight. But immigrant rights groups, they called it what it was: a violation of the rule of law. And it did not stop there. When Abrego landed in El Salvador, he faced immediate danger. His wife and children, still in the U.S., began pleading for his return. Even us, senators, like Chris Van Hollen from Maryland, stepped in to demand answers. Finally, the Supreme Court of the United States intervened. They ordered the government to bring him back. And so Abrego García returned, back to Maryland, back to his family, back to the headlines. But this was just the beginning. Because once he was back, Trump's border czar, Tom Homan, stepped onto Fox News and made a declaration that shocked the country. He absolutely will be deported. How could Homan be so sure? Why would the administration risk defying courts, the Supreme Court, and public outrage just to deport this one man? To understand this, you need to know one thing about Donald Trump's immigration strategy. It's not just policy, it's politics. Trump has always used immigration as a powerful tool to rally his base. He talks about bad hombres, criminal aliens, and most famously, MS-13 gang members. For years, Trump has pointed to MS-13, a violent gang founded in Los Angeles but with deep ties to Central America, as proof that America needs to shut its borders and deport more people. Now, here's where Abrego comes in. Tom Homan, Trump's border czar, has repeatedly claimed that Abrego García is an MS-13 gang member. They point to tattoos, old police reports, and alleged ties. But here's the problem. None of this has ever been proven in court. Judges have looked at the evidence and thrown it out. They said it does not hold up. They said the government has failed to prove any gang affiliation. Yet Trump's team does not care. They are pushing the narrative. The story that Abrego is dangerous, that he has MS-13, and that keeping him in the U.S. would be a threat to American families. Why? Because it helps Trump's bigger plan. Trump is not just planning to deport Abrego García. He's planning what he calls the largest deportation operation in American history. Millions of immigrants who would be rounded up, detained, and removed. And if Trump can sell the public on the idea that Abrego Garcia is the face of dangerous immigrants, even if the courts say otherwise, then he strengthens his case for that mass deportation. This is why Homan went on TV and said, "He absolutely will be deported." It was not just about Abrego. It was about sending a message to Trump's supporters. We are tough. We do not back down. We deport criminals to immigrants in America. You are not safe. Court orders won't protect you. To the courts, we can override you if we want to. That's why this one case matters so much. Let's talk law. Because this is not just a political fight, it's a legal war. On one side, the courts, including the Supreme Court, saying Abrego has rights and that deporting him violated the law. On the other side, the executive branch under Trump, saying they can deport him anyway. This creates a constitutional crisis. Who has the final say? The courts or the president? When Homan says he absolutely will be deported, he is not just predicting, he absolutely will be deported. It's the future. He is challenging the authority of the judiciary. Even scarier. The government has floated deporting Abrego to Uganda or Costa Rica, places he has no ties to. Why? Because El Salvador might reject him. Think about that. Deporting someone to a random third country, not their home, not their choice, that's unprecedented. That's dangerous. And if the Trump administration succeeds in doing this with Abrego, what's stopping them from doing it to thousands or millions of others? This is not just a deportation case. It's a test of executive power versus judicial power. You might be wondering, okay, but why should I care? I am not in danger of being deported. Here's why. If Trump can deport someone against a Supreme Court ruling, what does that mean for the rule of law? What does that mean for checks and balances? If the government can send Abrego to Uganda, a country he has never been to, what does that mean for America's values, its constitution, its humanity? And if Trump uses Abrego as the poster child for his mass deportation plan, then millions of families living in the U.S. right now could be at risk. People with U.S. citizen children, people with jobs, homes, lives. This case matters because it tells us how far Trump is willing to go. And based on Homan's words, he's willing to go all the way. So here we are, a man who was wrongfully deported once, brought back by the Supreme Court, now facing deportation again. Not just to El Salvador, but possibly to Uganda or Costa Rica. A president who wants to prove he can override the courts. A border czar who says, without hesitation, he absolutely will be deported. And a country caught in the middle, asking, does the law still matter? Do court orders mean anything? Or is immigration now just about politics and power? This is bigger than one man. This is about the future of America's democracy. Because if Trump can win this battle with Abrego, then the stage is set for the largest deportation campaign in U.S. history. And the question for you, the American people, is simple. Do you believe this is protecting America? Or is this breaking the law to prove a political point? Let us know in the comments. And stay tuned, because in our next report, we will dive into Trump's full deportation blueprint and how it could reshape America forever. This is Global Alert Media. Stay alert, stay informed.